In India, out of every 3%, only 1% has emergency fund. Means 75% of Indian population is living without any social security. And if you think that in case of emergency, your friends and families are going to help you financially, it might be true in some cases, but let me tell you that life throws curveballs, both good and bad, and preparing for them financially is the key to peaceful and successful life. So in this video, I will be helping you out to plan your emergency fund. So keep aside all other distractions for upcoming 5 to 10 minutes and let's dive in. Now for most of the people to whom I talk, they do not have any idea of what exactly is emergency fund. Since they invest in FDs as well as liquid mutual funds, they think that they are the same things, but this is not correct at all, and this is one of the most popular myth. So first of all, I will be analyzing some famous investment schemes and plans which people generally considered as emergency fund, but in actually they are not. Then we'll be talking about the principle which truly define an emergency fund. Let's first talk about FDs. What do you think about them? Do you consider them as emergency fund? For most of the people, they answered yes, but the reality is far from it. Because if you see FDs, you can't withdraw money instantly from them. The very first basic principle behind any emergency fund is liquidity or ability to withdraw money instantly. Suppose you're standing in a hospital and you want to pay 2 lakh rupees there, and even if you have 1 crore in your FD, it will take either 2 days or few weeks to withdraw money from them. So on the very first basic principle, they are not standing, so we can't consider them as emergency fund. Now the second class of funds which are generally considered as an emergency funds are liquid mutual funds. Most of the asset management companies advertise them as super safe and they tell that people can use them in emergency fund. This is true up to some extent, but not up to full extent, and why I'm telling so, let me explain. And for those who don't know about these kind of funds, let me tell you that they are type of debt instruments which invest in assured interest returning market instruments such as government bonds, securities and high rated corporate bonds. So if you see, at last they're a kind of mutual funds, and there's always some risk associated with it. So if some government rules regulation changes, or some pandemic came, or some central bank changes the regulation, they got affected at last. Because we have seen in COVID-19 lockdown period that they were highly volatile. So someone if has put money into liquid mutual funds as an emergency fund, they might ended up losing those funds, especially in the time of COVID-19 when it was highly required. So there is always some volatility factor. Even they have shorter maturity period, generally they have only 90 days of maturity period, we can't consider completely them as an emergency fund. So now you might be thinking that if these two categories are not suitable for keeping an emergency fund, because our focus of storing an emergency fund is not that we are getting a good return, but we are getting money in case of emergency, whenever the emergency knock the doors. So what are the correct ways? So I will go on to that, but before that, let me try to compute or calculate or sum up that how much exact amount you have to put in these emergency funds. Let me calculate through your day-to-day expenses. So let's begin. So I have categorized all of my expenses into 3 major categories. The very first one is regular expenses, the second one is my personal expenses, and the third one is my debt and insurance. Now in case of regular expenses, I have considered 3 major things. The very first one is home rent or mortgages. The second one is my food and grocery utilities, and the third one is my Wi-Fi, telecom, those kind of bills. So taking example of mine only, I'm living in Hyderabad and I'm currently paying 12,000 as a home rent, plus each month I'm spending nearly 10,000 on my food and grocery utilities, and in my Wi-Fi, telephone, those kind of bills I'm paying nearly 5,000. So summing them all up, it becomes nearly 27,000 per month as my regular expense. Now in case my personal expense in Hyderabad, I am considering my bike maintenance cost or my car maintenance cost, which I currently don't owe but in future I might be owing, as well as the maintenance cost which I have to pay for my flat, plus some other medicines which I have to buy. So them I am considering as nearly 5,000. Now this amount can vary for you depending on the situation. For example, you might have kid and you have to pay their school fees also, so that might also adds up. As well as in the case of debt and insurance, I do not have any debt, but I'm paying currently 7,000 per month as a health insurance for my parents and dependents. So in total, if I add all of these expenses, this becomes 39,000 per month for me. Now, to calculate the amount which you should have as an emergency fund, you should always keep in mind, always keep from 6 to 12 month amount of this value. For example, per month I need 39,000 in Hyderabad to survive, or to bare minimum which I should have to live a standard life there. I should have at least 12 into 39,000 as an emergency fund corpus. And why I'm telling so, because I'm working in private sector and that is volatile. If you're working in much more stable sector, or there are 2 or 3 persons earning in your home, then you can reduce the amount or month period for an emergency corpus. But for me, I'm considering 12 months. So multiplying 12 months into 39k per month, it becomes nearly 4,68,000. So this much corpus I should have as an emergency fund. So the question is how to accumulate this value. So the tip here is always try to put some money from your monthly salary into an emergency fund. It's not necessary that you create your fund in a one go, but always contribute some amount monthly into an emergency corpus till that has been fulfilled, and try to cut some other expenses like your party expenses, your other spending or shopping spendings till you build a stable emergency corpus. And always keep in mind, whenever you are calculating this emergency fund amount, do not include your partying. If you love to drink, you want to spend money on those things, do not include those things into emergency fund, because only consider those expenses without which you won't be able to survive there in that city. So that's it. Now, if we talk about where to put this emergency fund, because that is the climax part of this video from starting, which we're talking about where to put exactly this emergency fund and how to build this. So very first option, which you all know, is your saving account, but a better option is auto sweep FDs. Most of the bank account today provide you this facility of auto sweep FD, and I itself explored few days back only. Now what happened, when you put your money into saving account, some part of your money will go into an FD account, and the liquidity is same as saving account. Only the thing is, you will be getting interest rate as equal to an FD account. And the plus point here is, whenever you want to withdraw all of your money, you are always free to do that. So if you do not want to put your mind into some calculating that how much proportion you have to distribute in liquid funds and put here and there, you can simply invest your money into an auto sweep FD with a good amount of interest that you will easily build a good emergency corpus. Now the second option is a mixture of auto sweep FD and then liquid mutual funds, if you want to get more interest rate out of your emergency funds only. So what you can do, for example, we know that liquid mutual funds generally mature in 3 months of period. So what you can do, out of your total amount of money, for example for me 4,68,000, what I will do, 1/4 of this money I will put into my auto sweep FD, because I know that out of this 12 month of emergency corpus, in this 3 month period in which this my liquid funds mature, I will be withdraw all of my liquid fund amount. So I can put my 3/4 money into liquid mutual funds and 1/4 in my auto sweep FD. In that way, I'll be able to get much more interest rate, as well as I can build a safer emergency corpus. But always keep in mind, if you're unsecure about these things, just keep into an auto sweep FD, because the main aim of building an emergency fund is to not be profited from putting your money into some good equity or markets that we are trying to do here. So that's it for today, guys. That's my secret plan for building an emergency fund, and hope you liked the video and enjoyed the video. Do share with your friends who believe that they do not need any kind of emergency fund. Till then, keep growing, keep hustling, keep earning. Have a good day. This is Shubham Rai signing off. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.